Schools were closed and residents were ordered to shelter in place Tuesday after a large fire broke out at an aerospace manufacturer's facility in a town north of Philadelphia, officials said. According to Associated Press, the fire broke out at SPS Technologies in Jenkintown around 9:30 p.m. Monday, and witnesses said there was an explosion and flames could be seen inside the warehouse, the Abington Township Police Department said in a statement on social media. The building was evacuated, all employees were accounted for and no injuries were reported. SPS Technologies describes itself as a developer, manufacturer and global supplier of a line of aerospace fasteners and precision components. The Abington and Jenkintown school districts and all private and parochial schools were closed Tuesday. The shelter-in-place order was in effect until the incident was under control because smoke and particulates from the fire were filtering across the area, officials said. Hazmat crews were monitoring air quality and advised all businesses within a 1-mile radius to remain closed until further notice. Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority warned that service was suspended on 3 regional rail lines to start the day due to the fire, noting that it could cause delays in other parts of the system.
The US may deploy military forces to Ukraine to protect rare earth mineral deposits, according to NBC News, citing 4 officials familiar with the matter. In early February, Donald Trump expressed interest in acquiring $500 billion worth of Ukraine's rare earth minerals in exchange for US military aid. Ukraine holds significant reserves, including beryllium, zirconium, and tantalum. In a Fox News interview, Trump said Kyiv had essentially agreed to the deal. NBC sources report that the Trump administration offered Kyiv a proposal to grant the US 50% ownership in companies involved in rare earth extraction. In exchange, American troops could be stationed in Ukraine to safeguard these resources, contingent on an agreement with Russia to end the war. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent handed the draft agreement to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski in Kiev. Officials told NBC News that rather than paying for the minerals, the deal would allow Ukraine to repay the US billions of dollars in military aid through ownership of the extracted minerals. Sources from the Washington Post confirmed that Zelensky refused to sign the draft deal at the Munich Security Conference, citing a lack of security guarantees. The Ukrainian president indicated that Ukraine would present its own proposal based on the Ukrainian constitution. Meanwhile, the Associated Press reports that several European countries are working behind the scenes to send troops to Ukraine. European discussions intensified over the past year, driven by concerns that President Trump might strike a deal with Russia without involving European nations. The UK and France are said to be leading these talks, though details of the plan remain unclear. The size of the European contingent will depend on the terms of a potential peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine. The US has asked European capitals to provide detailed proposals on the peacekeeping troops, weaponry and security arrangements they could offer Ukraine as part of a broader security guarantee to end the war with Russia, according to the Financial Times. The request sent by the US State Department aims to gauge Europe's willingness to protect Ukraine following a potential peace settlement and the price they are willing to pay for being included in peace negotiations with Moscow. The US questionnaire includes inquiries about military hardware that European nations could provide and the number of troops they would be prepared to deploy. Washington intends the questionnaire to scope out Europe's willingness to protect Kyiv after a peace settlement and the price Europe is willing to pay in exchange for being involved in talks, the FT suggests. These requests come ahead of a visit by US, Ukraine and Russia envoy Keith Kellogg, who will be touring European capitals starting with Brussels next week. Kellogg, who was not listed as part of the US team holding talks with Russia, has raised concerns in Europe and Ukraine about how involved he will be in Trump's peace efforts. Despite being sidelined from direct negotiations with Russia, Kellogg maintains he is leading efforts on the Ukrainian and European fronts.